Hello and welcome to Get Collected. I'm your host, Soul Brother Mike, and it's Thursday, June 8th, 2017, and you're listening to Season 3, Episode 15. Get Collected is co-hosted by Chrissy Cochran.
Hello.
Today in What's the Deal, we'll be talking about our upcoming shows and my interview with Canadian Beats. And here's something I'm sharing a live recording from a rehearsal I had yesterday. And then in the last part of today's show called Feelosophy, I'll be talking about some of the history of the lap steel guitar. Now let's get to the show. So what's the deal? Here's the deal. First up, I want to mention that today on Canadian Beats, which is a blog that interviews Canadian artists, they released an interview that they did with me. I answered 5 questions on my new album and my writing process. So if you want to go support them and read that interview, I recommend you head to canadianbeats.ca.
This Saturday, we've got a busy day lined up, starting with the Downtown Windsor Farmers Market. Mike and I are playing there from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and that's on Polisher Street, just north of Wyandotte. Last time, we came home with some delicious butter tarts, kale tortilla chips, and an excellent sheep cheese, and Mike obviously had a great time playing. So we're both looking forward to doing it together this weekend. Then on Saturday night is the big show, Mike's album release party for his new CD, Learn to Vibe. We just had our last rehearsal last night and it sounded awesome. We're going to play you a little clip of that in just a minute, but you're going to want to hear it in person if you're in the area. So the show is this Saturday night at Villain's Bistro with an opening set from Brendan Scott Friel. And then Mike's playing with a band that includes me and Brendan singing backups, Kelly Hoppy on sax, Keith Wilkinson on bass, and Taylor Eunice on drums. The show is an early one. It starts at 7 o'clock and should wrap up by about 10 o'clock or so. And tickets are $10 at the door. For more info on both of these shows, please visit soulbrothermike.com/dates.
So now for the next part of today's show called Hear Something. Today I'm sharing with you a pretty rough live recording from my rehearsal last night. It was the first time that I gathered all 6 members who are going to be playing with me this Saturday night at Villain's Bistro. And we gathered and we rehearsed and things got pretty groovy. So I managed to capture some of the action on recording. So let's have a listen now to a live recording of a song from my new album, Learn to Vibe. This song is called Sticky Love.
When the situation gets to be so sticky, life was alright and now it feels so dang tricky. But I know I should be lucky about all the things that I got when others living without. I love you so sweet, you're such a sweet love, but I get messed up when we're sticky. I can't get high on sticky love, high on sticky love. I can't get high on sticky love, high on sticky love. Love so tricky, love so sticky, love so tricky, love so. I used to get down on a loving so high, but now I'm strapping in for a bumpy ride because sex and money's all we worry about. Maybe because neither one we can do without. I love you so sweet, you're such a sweet love, but I get messed up when we're sticky. I can't get high on sticky love, high on sticky love. I can't get high on sticky love, high on sticky love. Come on. Love so tricky, love so sticky, love so tricky, love so I can't get high on sticky love, high on sticky love. I can't get high on sticky love, high on sticky love. And it's not the girl, it's just the world. They don't never let us be. against the world. Better never let us be. Ooh, no. The situation get to be so sticky. Life was alright, now I feel so dang shit. But I know I should be lucky about all the things that I got when I was living without. I love you so sweet, you're such a sweet love. But I never stop when we're sticky. I can't get high on sticky love. High on sticky love. I can't get high on sticky love. High on sticky love. Love so tricky, love so dang tricky, baby. Love so tricky. You know that I can't get high on sticky love. High on sticky love. I can't get high on sticky love. High on sticky love. No, I can't get high on sticky love. Ooh, yeah. Alright, I can't get high on sticky love. High on sticky love.
All right, that was Sticky Love by Soul Brother Mike. Reach out to him on Twitter at Soul Brother Mike to let him know what you thought. Also, if you'd like to download and own that recording, simply subscribe to the Get Collected podcast on Patreon. For $5 a month, you'll get access to all the music we feature in the Here's Something part of our show, which is often rare and otherwise unreleased. So go subscribe now at patreon.com/getcollected.
So now for the last part of today's show called Feelosophy. Today I'm talking about the history of the lap steel or steel guitar, which was said to have been invented and developed in the late 19th and early 20th century. The instrument and techniques are said to have been invented by Hawaiian native Joseph Kikuku, born in 1874. So the story goes that Joseph was walking along a road in Honolulu holding an old Spanish guitar when he saw a rusty bolt on the ground. As he picked it up, the bolt accidentally vibrated on the strings and produced a new tone that was rather pleasing. And after practicing for some time with the metal bolt, Joe experimented with the backside of a pocket knife and with the back of a steel comb, and still later on with a highly polished steel bar, which is very similar to the sort that's used today. By the time he was an adult, he had developed a unique style of playing, and he began to travel extensively teaching and performing throughout the US and Europe. In the 1930s, the slide guitar was electrified and would make a big impact on country music. Now, Joseph did the majority of his recordings with the Toots Paka Hawaiian Troupe, most of them recorded on Edison wax cylinders. And although it's not certain that it's Joseph that's performing on these recordings, many believe that it is in fact him. So we'll listen now to a quick example of the Toots Paka Hawaiian Troupe performing Wailana Waltz, recorded in 1920 to wax cylinder. So from this short example, we can hear what might have been Joseph Kikuku's playing and unquestionably his style or influence. And as we compare that to the next example, we'll hear the similarity between the slide guitar style played here and the slide guitar style that we find later in popular country music. So this next example I have is of Hank Williams Sr. This song was the #2 country song hit from 1951, and we'll hear the similarity in that slide guitar performance style. So let's have a quick listen now to Hank Williams Sr.'s I Can't Help It If I'm Still in Love with You. Now, some believe that Joseph Kikuku was not the true inventor of the slide guitar, and that he may have discovered the technique by hearing travelers from India stopping in Hawaii for food and other supplies. And while it is true that the Shitra Veena or slide veena is a type of slide guitar or instrument that's used in India music going back hundreds of years, it only takes a quick listen to hear the obvious difference. So where the technique of a slide on strings may be the same, the tunings and techniques developed by Joseph Kikuku are different and are much closer to what would become popular in the mainland United States in the 20th century, both through Hawaiian music and country music. So we'll end this segment with a quick clip of the very different sounding Shitra Veena or slide guitar from India, and this is performed by the Indian musician Sri Ravi Kiran. So let's have a listen. All right, that's our show for today. Thanks so much for listening. Tune back in on Tuesday for an all-new Dust It Off. Stay tuned and stay collected.